What's going on, everybody? Welcome to With Her Two Hands, your weekly podcast where we celebrate women who build, fix, and make things with their own two hands. I'm your host, Bogey. I am an auto mechanic by trade, and this show is all about celebrating all trades, all industries. We've had the privilege of speaking with women who work on helicopters, on airplanes, who do construction, who do diesel work, paint and body, welding, fabrication, you name it. Today, I am super excited to be joined by a woman who works on engines larger than I can even imagine. She's so casual about it, like laid back day, working on a 95-liter engine. Oh my God. Can't even fathom what that's like. I'm so excited to hear about her journey, how she got to where she is, and what her daily life is like. But first, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and hanging out with us on this fine Wednesday or whatever day it is that you are listening to this. Remember, you can catch us here every Wednesday night live on YouTube, and you can also catch an archived episode every Monday night. This used to be a series that lived on Instagram. So if you're new to With Her Two Hands, you might not know that. This used to be Trades Lady Happy Hour, lived on Instagram, and there's a bunch of back episodes that we're slowly releasing over time. So you can catch those every Monday night. I hang out live in the comments. Sometimes the guest from that episode hangs out with us as well. So make sure you like and subscribe and check out all of those episodes. Hang out with us every Monday and Wednesday night. And then, of course, make sure you follow us on social media as well. Please, if you enjoy this series, hit like, hit subscribe. If you're listening in a podcast form, you can get this as a podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure you rate and review. The more reviews we get, the more eyes we get, the more the stories of these incredible women get out there to inspire the next generation of young women who are going to come up and just kill it in the trades. And we are going to see an increase in the number of women that are populating these trades. We are seeing a rise in them, but it is slow going, and we want to see that increase. So you guys are a part of that. So make sure that you rate and review this series. And if you have any questions, we're going to be doing some really targeted conversations over the next couple of months with some various guests, and we want to answer your questions. So connect with us on social media, send us an email, write us a message in the comments. We'd love to hear your specific questions that you'd love to hear some tradeswomen address, and maybe we'll read your question on air or make a whole episode about it. And I do have to thank, we have an amazing partner who has been with us for the last year and a half now, helping make this series possible. So big thank you to Drive Time for their commitment to not only bringing in like the next generation of tradespeople and technicians and paint and body techs, but really making a commitment to bringing in more women and helping nurture them and grow their careers. So big thank you to them. If you're not familiar with Drive Time, go check them out now. But for now, without further ado, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest because I think you're all going to really enjoy getting to know her. And here she is, Miss Ebony Graham. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing?
I'm
Um,
so excited to have you here.
Before we get started, I
Yeah.
want to give you kudos,
Oh,
and salute you for shedding light on the tradeswomen out there. We really don't see a lot of people actually reaching out and finding the women out there that's actually grinding real hard every day. So
yeah.
I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I kind of fell into having this platform because of TV, right? And then I would always hear these people say like all the time, like, oh yeah, there's a handful of women in the trades. There's you, there's Jesse, there's Christy Lee, like, and they would name the people on TV. And I'm like, there's thousands of amazing women who
Hmm.
are like really just killing it out in the trades and deserve to be seen. And I think so many of us, before I was on TV, I was the same as you, just grinding out in the field. Like, we're often alone, and nobody knows we're out there killing it and struggling and grinding every day. And I think it's just really, really important. And this is how we start to see more women's faces. So thank you for that. And thank you for being a part of it because I can't do it with you. So
No problem.
So you, similarly to me, came up in this industry a ways back, right? You're not brand new to being wrenching and in the industry. Um, and it was even fewer women back then. I'm so curious how you got your start and how this journey started for you and what it was like for you as a woman a decade ago getting into being a diesel technician.
Hmm. Well, I'm gonna start in high school. So I was a senior in high school, and I played basketball. So that was from all the way up from 8 to 18. I was a baller, and I received a full scholarship
Oh wow.
to play basketball at a college. And but while we was in high school, UTI came and did a presentation and blew my mind. UTI,
Really?
University Technical Institute, and I was like, man, that's what I want to do right there. I was headstrong on that, and going a little bit further, my mom was like, look, you worked this hard, let's try this, just try this scholarship thing out. And I was like, okay, okay. So I did that, and I lasted about 6 to 7 months. I started partying a little too much. Got caught up in the other lifestyle. So
Mhm.
I came back home, and from like my years from 18 to 22, 23, I was going down kind of a slippery slope, a dark path or whatever. But then, man, I found the light. I found God then, and I had turned my life around. And then I remembered that presentation from UTI. I was like, look, that's what I want to go back to. So
That's
in
awesome.
like 2013, I was 23 at the time. I went to UTI, and I never looked back. I never
I
looked back.
love it. How crazy. Okay, so basketball to automotive, because you went for automotive originally to UTI, right?
Yes, yes.
What what was it about this UTI presentation that grabbed you so much? And had you been interested in cars beforehand?
Um,
Was this like a thing? Or was it just totally unexpected? You saw this
mhm,
presentation, it was brand new, and
mhm.
something about it grabbed you. Like, what was it?
Well, it actually struck the memory when I was like 8 or 9. I would help my grandfather. He would work on an old car, Oldsmobile actually. It was blue, and he would be out there tinkering around with it, and I would help him out, here and there. So that brought back like, hey, I really enjoyed that, and that was the time that I had with my grandfather at the time. So
Nice. Yeah.
um, it brought that back to me, and so I think that's how I kind of veered into it. And I've always been really hands on. I've always been really good with my hands, fixing things, want to figure out how this works. So um, I don't know. It just kind of grabbed my attention.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
How did your family and friends respond when you decided when you were expressing interest in
Hmm.
going to UTI and following that path?
Um, well, my family, my mother, about she's look now. She's the strongest woman I know. The hardest working woman I know as well. So when I told her, she's always been supportive. Always been supportive of me. I would never, try to be like, well, maybe, you're smaller than average, or why you want to go. No, never, none of that. She was just always supportive. Um, and my family as well, my brothers. So yeah, I've always had support, always. So
That's
and I
awesome.
think that's what like actually helped me to, to go, and actually pursue that dream.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I think that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah,
In
totally.
talking with women, like I hear both sides of that coin, right? Some women who were not supported at all by their family and others who were, and it makes such a difference, such a difference.
Hmm.
So were you
Hmm.
the only girl in the family? You said brothers,
So
plural.
yes, I am the only girl in the family. I have three brothers actually.
Oh
So
wow.
I have three brothers, but I have two. So it's three. It's three of us by my mother, and then my brother. I got an older brother that's out of my dad's side. So he's my older brother, but it's three of us growing up in the same household. So I'm the
So you
only
were
girl.
around all of the boy energy.
Mhm. Yes.
What does mom do? Can I ask?
My mom is I would say that she is a supervisor at a company, I believe Dixie. So she's a
Okay.
supervisor over there.
Okay. All right. Nice. But not in not in the trades
Not
at all.
great. No. Oh no. No. Yeah. Funny story
But
though. I
incredible.
had she was on her way up here to visit me. Well, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, and I live
Okay.
in Douglasville, Georgia. So she was on her way to visit me, and she caught a flat tire, and she panic freaked. I'm like, Mom, okay, look, FaceTime me. Let's walk through this together. So she got down, she got in the trunk, got everything out. I'm like, okay, so now you got to find how to jack the car up. So you got to find this little ledge underneath, and you got to put the scissor jack right in between that spot. So I'm like, so she's on her hands and knees. I'm like, Mama, no, you got to get on your stomach. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it. You got to get one with the ground. So, um, man, I'm trying to tell you, I was stressed out. She was stressed out, but we walked her all the
Did
way
she
through.
win?
Yes, she won. She won. But well, a guy actually showed up like after she got the tire off, and they was like, "Man, we need some help." And she was like, "Please, yes, I need some help." But hey, she had it all the way. Like, yeah, she got it down packed. Yeah,
That's awesome. What did we do before FaceTime? My goodness. Like, how
I
cool is
know.
that you were able to help her remotely like that?
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about if my mother ever got a flat tire and if I had to help her by phone. Like, there's no way. My mother will convince people at the gas station to pump her gas for her. Because she's from Jersey and they don't pump their
Mhm.
own gas in Jersey, and
Oh,
she's like, I don't like doing that," and she's
mhm.
probably cringing right now watching this,
Mom's
but,
are totally opposite. I'm trying to tell you, if she can do it by herself, she's gonna try to do it.
that's awesome. My mom is strong in a lot of ways, but when it comes to car
Mhm.
stuff, she is just
Mhm.
not interested.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Okay, so you're totally intrigued by this UTI presentation. It catches your interest. You decide you want to do it. At this point, you're going down the mechanical path, like automotive mechanical path. How was the school experience for you? What was it like? Which campus did you go to? I went to UTI too. Which campus did you go to?
I went to the campus in Loud, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, so Loud, Illinois, studied automotive, and there were maybe like three of us women in the whole school.
Okay. How many
Majority.
guys, just to give people context?
Um, how many ever they enrolled? So I mean, I don't know, maybe like thousands, couple thousand.
Yeah.
Just depends how many they enrolled. But yeah, I would say three out of 2,000 or something like that were women. Um, and the environment was it was definitely different for me. I noticed like, hey, I'm here and it's real. So instead of me, going in, I went in with the mind frame of determination. So I wanted to go in, and I wanted to. I had to study. So I was studying. I was always in the books. I worked a part-time job, and I was going to school full-time. So um, money was short, man, but I was up late night studying, learning about every sensor I could, what's the function, how these sensors operate, like how the cooling system flows, and I just want to know how all of this come together in this engine or automotive at the time. Well, all of it's automotive. I mean, all of it's still
Yeah.
a big engine. So,
Yeah.
but
You're just doing stuff that's like 27 times the size of what automotive mechanics are now.
yeah, but
I gotta ask you, when you got into school, like when you were starting out, were you like really cognizant of the fact that you were a minority as a woman going into this career path, or were you just so taken by it that you went into it and then encountered the holy crap, there's only two other women here?
Yes, I think that's the second option. When I got there, that's when I realized, hey, there's not too many women in this field, and I'm a black woman at that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. So sometimes it made me feel like that I needed to work harder. You know, um, the average man technician can be average, but the woman technician, has to be above average. So I've always felt like that, and that's just real life in this field, in any field that women are involved with in the trades. So yeah, we gotta be that step above. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And I think some of it, it's tough because I think sometimes we put it there's my mom commenting, Jersey girls don't pump gas. Gotta love the mama defending herself. That was cute. No, I think sometimes parts of it I feel like we put on ourselves, like we feel the pressure that we have to be better, that we have to work harder to prove that we belong. And then I think some of it is really just the reality of, when there's only 3 women out of thousands of men, you stand out more,
Hmm.
right? And so
Hmm.
when you mess up, everybody knows,
Oh
right?
yes.
When Joe Schmo,
Hmm.
John Doe guy, random guy who, when he messes up, nobody knows.
Hmm.
But when we mess up, everybody knows. And so I think it's a little bit of both, that like we have to be better. We have to be work
You know,
twice as hard to get the
and
respect.
you have to be careful with not knowing your stuff, because you got people out there that tries to challenge you.
Yeah.
Customers that think that they know how this is supposed to go, how this engine is supposed to turn, or
Right.
oh, I did this. I'm working at on the lawnmower, and this, what I'm saying, like, no, this is totally different ball game here. So you got to really walk in confidence. You got to
Yeah.
walk in with authority as well. So no, don't get me wrong, all of this comes later, but like when you first get in, like you just gotta take it one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like going to school is, like, the hardest part, right? Because you don't have anything to back yourself up, right? Like, once you got 10 years of experience in and people doubt you, right? Like, then it's like, "Okay, whatever. I know I got this. It's cool. I'm not gonna take offense by you doubting me." But when you're in school and you don't really know anything,
Mhm.
like,
Yes.
that's the hard part.
Yes, that is. That's true. I see where you're coming from. Um, but I don't know,
How
man.
when
It's like you gotta just kind of. That's when you really work on yourself. Is when you're in school. You work on your knowledge and getting that gaining the knowledge for yourself. So I think that
Yeah.
that's a whole lot more about working on within in school. And in school is a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the things comes off a little easier. Like if you're taking off a tire or something like that, all the lugness has already been off. Everybody's already taken them off. So like you haven't encountered any rust yet. You haven't encountered being in 30-degree weather. You haven't seen all of that stuff yet. So in a way, it's tough, but in a way, it's not as bad. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ooh, 100%. I'm having technical difficulties over here. All right. I 100% agree with you on that. I feel like school is a little bit of like you're paying to learn, obviously, but it's like the place where it's safe to make mistakes to a degree.
mhm.
And yes, like everything is in relatively pristine condition,
Yeah.
um and you don't have like the real world stuff either,
Mhm,
like not just the rust and all of that, but like, you don't have um the reality of most shops don't have the top of the line equipment or the
mhm,
latest and the greatest,
mhm,
right? You go to
mhm.
UTI and you're learning on like the good stuff, and then you get out in the field and you go to a independent shop maybe and you're like, "Oh, they don't have any of those tools."
Yes. And then you don't have to deal with like everybody's there to learn. So
Yeah.
when you get out in the field, you got guys that's been in the field 20 years. You see what I'm saying? So it's a big difference.
Yeah,
So,
that is true.
mhm.
How were you received at the school? How were the other students? How were the teachers? How did they react to
Mhm.
you?
To be honest, I really didn't. I kind of just went in and stay focused. I was like driven. So I had maybe a couple friends, But they were my classmates that we were competitive with. So it's like we would competitive. We would be competitive on who's gonna get the student of the course for this course. Like who's gonna get this A, or 98% A. So we made friends. I made friends by like trying to I don't know. I guess by just being so driven. So that's how I made a couple friends. But other than that, I mean, the teachers they took me in pretty well.
Nice.
I didn't feel like I got treated any different. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's fantastic. That's good.
Hmm.
I I think that's an interesting point about like, being competitive and kind of falling in with like the kids that were competitive to be the best. Because
Hmm.
once you get in with those kids, they don't care,
Mm.
right? They don't care whether you're a woman, whether you're a
Nope.
man. They just like who's going to be the best, who's going to do
Yeah.
this the
Yeah.
fastest. And falling in
Hmm.
with that, like that was that's a
Hmm.
fantastic point.
Yeah.
So how long was the UTI program that you did?
About a year. About
Okay.
a year, a little bit over a year. Hmm.
Okay. Did you do all like the add-ons like the hot rod and the Ford
See,
and
and
all of that stuff too?
I wanted to get into the Mercedes Benz program after that.
Okay.
That was my goal. I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish with well, I did finish with a 3.8, but
Nice.
I needed to finish higher to get into the Mercedes Benz program.
Mm.
And but once I got there, that previously in my past, I went down that dark, I got into a little trouble, and Mercedes Benz wasn't letting me, continue with them or go further because of my background at the time.
Oh, wow.
So after I graduated with 3.8 GPA, I had problems um, getting an automotive job with dealerships because of my background. So
Okay.
so then that's how I ventured over into diesel because it's less
Okay.
lenient with backgrounds.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. Why is that diesel is more lenient? Do you know?
I don't. I don't know.
Excuse
I
me. I'm so
don't.
sorry.
Oh, bless you. But no, I have no idea. But
Interesting.
they really didn't. I mean, I don't have any felonies or anything, but it was just my background was stopping me from getting into the dealership. So diesel, they gave me a chance. They gave me a chance, and my background really wasn't a factor.
Interesting.
Hmm.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I wonder if it's like because you weren't doing like big diesel back then. You started out doing smaller diesel, right?
Um, I mean, semi trucks. So
Okay.
15-liter engines.
Because I was
Um,
thinking maybe it has something to do with the driving of the vehicles, but like you're still driving the big rigs to test drive them, right?
hmm Well, I
Interesting.
did that at Cummins, but well, at my job when I got at Travel Centers of America, truck stop, we didn't really drive the trucks. The
Okay.
customers would drive them in, and they would drive them out the bay. So we
Okay.
didn't drive them.
So how did you find that opportunity? You're searching, you're trying to find opportunities, you're trying the dealerships, you tried Mercedes, you tried all of these different things. How did you wind up finding the travel center opportunity? Did they find you? Did you find them? How did you make that pivot?
I was online like crazy, looking up automotive technicians, looking up just mechanics, who was needing mechanics at the time. And so I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. So when I came from Illinois, I came back home and back home to Lexington, Kentucky. And then I was just searching, I was online, I was going through Indeed, I was going through my resume down, my GPA, everything. I had all of that on there. Um, but a shop in Walton, Kentucky, which was about almost an hour away from Lexington, Kentucky,
Okay.
reached out to me, and it was like, "Hey, we
Okay.
want to do an interview with you." And I didn't know too much about diesel then. I'm not even. I'm
Yeah.
like diesel shop. That's a mechanic, so let's go up there and try. Go try it out. And see what they was talking about. So I just kind of, man. I don't know, man. I think God was with me on that one. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So you
but
just
I
kind
mean,
of I mean, you fell
gotta make
into it.
yourself resourceful, yeah, and yes, yeah, it fell into it. Hmm.
Amazing. I mean, well, fell into it, not fell into it. I don't mean to diminish the work that you put in, like putting yourself out there over and over and over and over
Hmm.
again. But
Hmm.
like the fact that a diesel shop is what reached out to you ultimately and brought you down that path, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get discouraged at any point? Was there like any point in this where you're like, man, I'm not getting any opportunities. Screw this. Like, I don't want to do this. This is too hard.
Yes. I had a manager position job at, I believe, like AutoZone or something, or was it and I was like a week in before I got that opportunity for the shop in Walton, Kentucky, the diesel shop. And I'm like, Mom, well, I'm a manager. I talked to my mom about this. Talked about everything. She's my best friend. And I was like, Mom, so um, I'm already a manager at this, at an AutoZone, or I can't believe whichever one it was. And I was like, well, I got this opportunity to be a diesel tech. And she was like, you didn't go to school for nothing. You didn't go to school for nothing. So I want you to go up there and try this out. And so, yeah, man, I mean, it was all her too. It was definitely my mother, man, who guided me in the right direction too.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, but I had opportunities, but they wasn't trying to give me an automotive job, or they wasn't trying to give me that chance. This diesel shop, man, took a chance on me, and I appreciate them for that to this day. To this day.
When you say you were getting opportunities, but they weren't like to be out, were they wanting to put you in other types of positions, like manager positions, office
Mhm.
positions, that kind of stuff?
Office positions, manager positions, parts positions, stuff like that. They wasn't giving me a chance to actually be in the field.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
And it
awesome
was,
that shop did. Go ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
no. I mean, it was just kind of, you know, um, you take like a morale, like you like, dang, am I not, you know, good enough or something? You know what I'm saying? Like what, so sometimes, it kind of hit hard a little bit then too, but my mom helped me
Yeah.
get out of that funk.
I love that. Just another testament to how important it is to have people supporting you
Yeah.
when you are doing things that are unusual and uncommon to do. I mean, just in life in general, it's so important to have people supporting you, but particularly when you're traveling down the road less traveled, like that you might have given up at that point,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Or I would have just took that job and stayed at a manager position, AutoZone, and
yeah.
don't know where I would be to this day.
Yeah. I think that's something that, I find myself talking about so much these days is like, if people are like, oh, we've got to attract more women to the trades, we got to attract more women to the trades. But some of it is we attract them, we just don't keep them because then when the going gets rough, they don't have the support system, they don't have opportunities, people aren't giving them a chance, they don't have cheerleaders within the shops, and then we
Hmm.
lose them or they never make it.
That's true.
So I'm
Mm.
glad you had your mama. That's awesome. Yay for
Hey.
moms. Yay for moms that are supportive.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get this opportunity. You don't know anything about diesel, but you say yes anyway. Are you terrified? Like, are you
Oh yeah.
back in, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing?
Yes. I mean, because it kind of intimidated a little bit. Like these are the biggest engines I've seen. I was working automotive. A little bit 4.3 liter engine. So going from a 4.3 to a 15 liter engine. And then like I was working on the whole aspect. So I was working on the truck and trailer. So I was doing semi tires, brake chain, drum brakes, but that's a whole different size. You know, from air to from brake from see I haven't been in automotive field in a long time, but from what's it brake so
Drum, disc,
no,
hydraulic.
the fluid from brake fluid
Uh-huh.
to air pressure
Oh
so
yeah. Air
everything
brakes,
on the
yeah.
semi truck is on air brake, so everything's air. I don't have to deal with that. So everything was like it was definitely new. It was definitely new, a little bit intimidating, and everything was heavier. Everything was heavier too. So I had to adjust. My body had to adjust. I had to learn how to, pick up certain things, and I had to learn how to like, maneuver certain things. You know what I'm saying? The way that I had. So basically, I had to adapt to this new world.
Yeah. All while tons of eyes are on you as the new person, period, the new woman,
The new
the
woman.
new Black woman. Like,
Yes.
all eyes were on you, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I was the only black woman, or the black person in that shop or in that TA vicinity area up in that area in Walton, Kentucky. So I was the only black person there too. So
The only woman and the only black person.
yeah, the only woman and the only black person. Yeah. So all
How
eyes was
was
on me.
that? How was
Uh,
it?
it was definitely. I had to. I had to learn. I had to become like a sponge. You know, I had to learn my environment. So I think it was just like a big lesson. You know, there wasn't. I mean, now I was blessed with some really good guys. You know, don't get me wrong. They they taught me, they showed me some things, and like they walked me through. But don't get me wrong, they made me fight for it too. You know, there was times I had to fight for it, and they while they watching me struggle with this tire, trying to get this tire on. You know, they watching like to see if I'm gonna give up or to see if I'm going to like just back out or if I was gonna quit maybe 3 weeks, 6 weeks in. You know, so no, no, that wasn't me. But I don't know, man. I just had to work through it. Had to work through it, man, and just grind. I had to grind. I had to grind.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Yeah. Cuz you're kind of out of your league in sense of it's diesel not automotive. There's so many things that kind of put you in that vulnerable space, and I can only imagine how challenging that must have been. But like hearing you, like that determination of there's no way I'm going to let them see me give up,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Like
And then
that
sometimes
that's
it was beating me up so bad, like that they were like, "We got it. Go ahead, take a break. You know, we're gonna, we got you." And it meant a whole lot to me as well. You know, because they see me, and they see me work hard for it. But hey,
yeah.
we still got a little bit more learning to do.
Yeah.
So I think that made a big impact with them as well.
You feel like you earned their respect by how much
Definitely,
effort, yeah.
definitely. You know,
Was it a big crew that you worked with? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
um, out of so it was 4 bays. So it was maybe first, second, and third shift. Yeah, we was pretty about 12 technicians.
Okay.
Uh huh. Maybe more, 12 to 15.
Amazing. And you won them all over ultimately?
Ultimately, yeah, yes,
Took a moment.
yes. I did. And I look back and how hard I had to work for that. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I thank you. I mean, I'm thankful for what I had to go through because I wouldn't be where I am today without that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's that double-edged sword, right? I think sometimes the fact that I had it so hard at my
mhm,
first job is what made me a good tech. I still shouldn't have had to go through what I went through, but
mhm,
right, like I had a real a-hole as a shop foreman,
you did.
and he made my life living hell. But because of that, like it forced me to be really, really
Mhm.
good at what I did, and it's like it's tough. Like,
I was wrestling with a tire at one point, and it was like it was stuck between like a metal type of awning over the semi tire. So you had like a tight space to get this tire on and to get it onto the hub. So I'm fighting with it, and a couple guys are looking at me, So I'm fighting. I'm working hard, and I slit my hand, start bleed, and one of the guys was like, "Okay, we got you. We'll take over from here." But I just went. I had to go take a break mentally, and just cried. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause it's tough. Don't get me wrong. Uh, I've been where I am today, but I had to go through some trials. So, but I had to cry, get that off, and came right back to it. You see what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I so appreciate you saying that because I think it's, it's easy. It's relatively easy in retrospect to kind of see the positives and kind of like be appreciative for all of it, and like for other people watching this, other young women who might be seeing this and feel like, well, they were so much stronger than I am because they made it through. Like, to be clear, like there was crying.
Mhm.
Like it was
Body
not
hurting.
okay.
Yes. Yes. Taking Epsom salt baths at night. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's okay. Like
And
it's
that's okay.
allowed. It's
Hmm.
okay. You can cry, you can go hide in the bathroom or do what you need to do. And
Not in front of the men. Now, I want you to be clear. You need to, blow off a little bit, take some steam, do what you got to do, come back, regroup, and ready. I'm ready, but
yeah.
yeah, you definitely need that sometimes.
Yeah. I love the caveat, not in front of the men.
Yeah, that'd be
Not until you know them real well, and then it's different. But no.
exactly. But I mean, like I had to learn how to adapt, because everything in the diesel field is bigger. So like the drive line, some of the guys can do a drive line over the pit and drop it from the U joints. But they're using arm, shoulder, and all of that stuff. But I'm not tall enough. So I had to put mine in the bay, and I would like lay on my back. But I would have to use the drive. The drive shaft was so heavy, I would use bungee. So when I undid it from the U joints, it would catch it. So then
Nice.
when I'm lifting it back up, once I replaced, the yoke or whatever, um, I would use the bungees, and then I would use my knees to have it like steady. My knee came up in the camera. I had to use my knees and yes, to get it steady. So you have to be able to adapt as well, and you have to be able to,
Yeah.
figure out what works for you in this field, and all the fields for trades. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think so important to emphasize that. I'm so glad you brought that up. Like, because I'm sure like you had the same experience I did where you found the way that works for you as not a big man, right?
Hmm.
And found that way. And then people are looking at you like, why are you doing it like that?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
because it doesn't, we find the
Hmm.
thing that works for us, but
Yeah.
it means now more eyes on you, staring
Hmm.
at you, questioning you, judging you. And that stuff gets exhausting after a while,
I
but
don't
you
know.
find your
Now
way.
I think it kind of helped out. Like I gained more respect. I gained more respect with that.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
so, because
I love
I
that.
had to realize that like some things that they can't do that I can do. I can fit into certain places. I can
Yes.
hop on top of the engine because I'm a little smaller. I can slide underneath. Some of them can't slide underneath. So I mean, I had some advantages too, being a little bit smaller.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Now you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, 100. I think I was just talking with a friend about this. Like the first time that I earned the respect of guys in my first shop was when we had this recall and it required taking a whole bunch of stuff apart to get at the one little part that had to be replaced. But I didn't have to take anything apart because my little arms
Mhm.
could just slide right in there and get to what I needed to get to.
Mhm.
And suddenly, it was like in that moment, the first time I did it, that all the guys in the shop were like, "Oh, that's awesome." So they
Mhm.
didn't mind anymore sharing their strength with me because I could share my littleness with them. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So sometimes, like PB Blaster just won't get that boat off.
Right.
So sometimes you got to have that extra. So, with that trade, I'd be like, hey, could you come in, give me a little bit more back strength, just kind of amp them up a little bit. But yeah, they was right there when you needed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
mhm.
100%. I love it. So how long were you with that company?
With TA, I actually was with TA for 2 years in Walton, Kentucky, and then I relocated TAs to Atlanta, Georgia. And
Okay.
then I was with TA here in Georgia for um, about 3, almost 4 years.
Okay.
So total, I've been with TA for about 6 years, almost 7
Nice.
years.
Did you want to move to Georgia, or was it an opportunity that just kind of came up and you're like, sure, why not?
Um, no, I just felt like that the shop that I was in, I was getting better. I was getting confident. I was moving quick. I was making some decent money. Because it was commission. I was picking up on things pretty quick. But there was a lot of chiefs, not a lot of Indians. So like a lot of guys have been there for years. So I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to move up in that shop. And so I was trying to find dealerships to go to, Freightliner, different dealerships. And with me being a black woman, in a predominantly white state, um, I wasn't getting any opportunities. So I said, for me to take this diesel field to the next level, I have to. I mean, I need to relocate. And I took a chance on Georgia, and I haven't seen as many black diesel technicians that I have seen here. Black men, women, I've seen. So
Oh, wow.
I made the right choice.
Interesting. So was it hugely different? Was the corporate culture hugely different as a result of the diversity difference?
Culturally, um, I would say that it's fast paced. Atlanta is so the TA here in Atlanta, Georgia, is like the hub of Atlanta because it's 285. So all of the semi truck traffic comes through this TA in Atlanta, and then it's like the next TA truck stop is maybe an hour, almost 2 hours away. So this shop was very busy, very very busy, and definitely more. All of us was actually black. Like I think we only had one technician in TA Petro Atlanta
Oh, wow.
that was white.
Interesting.
It was a big
So,
different switch. Yeah, it was a switch.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
huge switch from the only black person to only one white person.
Hmm.
Was that like how did that feel? Did it feel totally different being in that space?
Well, you got to think. So when I came there, I was I was a pretty good technician. So I came in knowing my stuff. So I came in on a higher level, and I came in with the cultural, like with a black culture as well. So it was definitely like empowering. I feel like, oh, it's time to make some money down here now. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
That's
so
like night and day, like
it
whole
was
new
definitely
world,
it
right?
was.
You were don't know anything about diesel, only woman, only black person, to now you know your shit
Hmm.
and you're actually around other people who look like you.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah,
had to be
yes.
combined, like all of that combined had to
Hmm.
just be so dynamic of a difference.
Hmm.
Did
Hmm.
you feel like your career just totally took off at that point from that confidence boost?
Yes, I believe it took off from then. You still come into a new shop, so you actually have to prove that you know what you gotta know what you're doing. But after I did a couple jobs here and there, helped out some people here and there. Yeah, I was one of the top technicians in the shop
That's
as a
awesome.
female. Hmm. As a
Okay, I
female.
gotta ask a weird question, and I'm curious, like white men versus non-white men, how they treat women in the industry. Do you notice a difference?
That's a really good question. I can't say that it's no. I can't say it's a difference. I,
Okay.
I can't say it's a difference. I think men in general just want you to prove that you can handle, the job or carry that load, and then they got your back after that.
Okay.
So I don't think it was a difference. No. Mm-mm.
Interesting. Okay. I was curious. All right. Fascinating. Okay. So you're at this new shop. You prove yourself again. You gain the respect. You're excelling. You wind up leaving TA. Tell me what happens there and why you decided it was time for something different, because you kind of like you went big, 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 big
Hmm.
with your career. Like I want to you at some point started working not on semis but on massive engines. So when did that transition happen and what
I
motivated
just
it?
felt like TA was always the vehicle, but not the destination. So Um, I learned the experience. I learned the atmosphere. I got my confidence from TA. So I got my knowledge from TA. But I knew that I needed to take my career to the next level.
Okay.
I'm not big with. I try not to stay stagnant. I always try to learn more. It was a master technician that I was working underneath at one time, and I would just follow him around the shop. Like what we working on, what we working on today. I would if he's underneath the pit working on something, I would be right there. So I was always trying to learn more and like take and raise the bar, raise the
Mhm.
bar. So I said, man, I got to, I had to let go. I mean, I had to let go of the past to to kind of like to see what else what the future could hold for me. So I took a chance and applied for Cummins, and within what two months, Cummins hired me on. Yeah,
Nice.
Cummins hired me on. And I took a pay cut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I took a pay cut. I took a pay cut. And it was tough. I had to decide like, do I want to gain the knowledge, or 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 take back on some of the money that I'm making. So yeah,
What
so
made you decide to do that? Was it that you saw that there was more opportunity, like, if you kept with it? Or, like, what was it that made you willing to take a pay cut?
I believe it's the knowledge. I believe that it was the training that I get from Cummins. I believe that instead of me working on the whole aspect from drive shafts to brake drums to tires to lights, trailer lights, I'm specifically working on engines. So now it's specialized. It's done turned to being from from being a truck stop. Now I'm specialty. I'm a specialty technician now. So yeah, that,
Okay.
hmm yeah.
Has it been worth it? I mean, I'm sure you've made up that pay cut by now.
Yes. Oh yeah. By now, yeah. Yes, it was definitely worth it then. It was definitely worth it then. I haven't experienced as much training as I've ever like since I've been in this field. Cummins sends me to different. I've been going 2 weeks at a time to different classes, to different courses on ISX 15 engines from the fuel systems all the way up from just all the way the whole aspect of the engine. So yes, it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth
That's
it. I
awesome.
mean, I have a whole book here, of just certificates that like
Look at you.
yeah, I just I got so many that I don't even have any space. So I just kind of so it was definitely worth it. Definitely.
That's awesome. So they're super into continuing education and, like, keeping you growing and
Yes,
learning.
and
That's
that's what I
awesome.
really love about it. And like whatever we need as technicians, Cummins will supply. So I really like that as well. They
That's
take good care of their
fantastic.
technicians there.
Was there a point, I'm curious, because we kind of skipped over this question earlier, but, like, was there a point where you realized that diesel really was the place that you wanted to be? Like, because, like, you had kind of fallen into it initially, but then you stayed with it. You stayed with
Hmm.
diesel, and you abandoned automotive and went
Hmm.
full diesel and just kept getting bigger, 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 bigger diesel. Was there a point at which you, like, fell in love with it? Or was it
Yes,
just, okay,
yes.
tell me about it.
I fell in love with diesel once I noticed that people can work on their cars in their backyard or in their garage, but when it comes to diesel, we are needed as technicians. And when I came to realize that, I was I was done. And then there is I hate to say that, but it is a pay difference. Diesel technicians get paid a little bit more money than automotive technicians, and we're needed all over the world. Like all the shops that I know right now are hiring. We're actually hiring right now. I got the poster up letting you know right now that we're hiring. But yeah, I just noticed that, man. There will always be a job in this field, and I'm valuable. It made me feel valuable.
That's awesome. That's a really interesting point that you made about, people, you can work on your cars in your backyard, but diesel is like its own, like it's more, you have to be certified to do it.
Mm,
Like you have to know what you're doing, and it
yes.
makes it kind of a higher, I don't want to say higher caliber, but it kind of creates that professionalism,
Mhm.
maybe. Am I wrong? Does
No,
it?
not wrong. No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
And I like the subtle, like, P.S. Cummins is hiring in the background.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. Yeah.
So, ladies, if you're interested in diesel, looking for opportunities.
But yeah, with Cummins, man, I have from a bare block all the way up. I have rebuilt the engine, so from the crankshaft all the way up to the main bearings, from taking pistons in and out to setting the overheads on different engines. I've learned about. Um, I'm certified to work on ISB, like ISX 15s, QTS 50-liter engines, 60-liter engines, 95-liter engines. So I'm certified on all of these different engines. And Cummins keeps sending me to training.
Okay, I have to ask you, 95-liter engine.
Yes, we call it the hedgehog.
Where wait, the hedgehog?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, because the hedgehog continuously works for, I guess, for this food, and it's so this 95-liter is basically like a continuous, nonstop machine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. So I am naive when it comes to diesel, especially big diesel. Like, where does one find a 95-liter engine?
Now you will find that in a locomotive train,
Okay.
or you will find them in marine applications, boats, or
Okay.
I won't even say boat. It's like maybe like a huge
Like a
type
cruise
of
ship kind of
yeah,
thing.
cruise ship, yeah, something like
Okay.
that. Yeah. I would say power generation for sure,
Okay.
and yeah, it may be like mining in that type of.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So you're now that you're doing this bigger stuff, I know we were kind of like jumping ahead, but I'm so like fixated on this 95-liter engine thing. You're now traveling to like different locations. You're not in the shop anymore. You're
Hmm.
field,
Yeah.
and you're constantly someplace different, working on a massive engine in all sorts of different types of settings.
Hmm. Hmm. So yes, I was in
So
the
cool.
shop rebuilding the engines, and I got a job for well, I switched positions to a field service power generation technician, and I didn't realize how many engines power up these residentials and buildings and data centers
Yeah.
and hospitals. So like a lot of the hospitals, they got engines in the basement,
Really?
50-liter engines. Uh-huh. So like if the power was to go out in the hospital, they have to have the backup generator, the engine to power the alternator to power the building. They have to have
I
them.
mean, I knew generators, but I didn't think that there were actually engines attached to them.
Yes, yes. That's the prime power of what turns the alternator that pushes
Duh,
the
of
power.
course.
This, yeah. Hmm.
Of course. I
Hmm.
like, I just don't, you don't think about, like, I didn't think about that. Like, I
I'm getting
that's
antsy. We talking about some good stuff there. Yeah.
that is so cool.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
man. And
you're
I didn't
constantly
even
somewhere different.
realize. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even realize how many engines there were out there in this field. I mean, with just all over the cities, like everywhere. People houses like residentials, they have backup generators with engines attached to them that we maintain too. It's something on the smaller side, but when I go to Google or like Microsoft or Facebook, different places like that, they have like 20, like 22, 23 engines, just lined up. Doop, doop. And they're
Wow.
like 50 liters.
Okay. Validate me for a second though, because I feel like I'm feeling silly that I didn't realize this, but you didn't realize this either,
No,
right?
not, you're not, you're not by yourself.
Like, it sounds so obvious once you say it, but now I'm like, it never really occurred to me. that there were
Hmm.
massive engines in buildings powering buildings and
Hmm. Yes.
amazing.
And so with me being a field service power generation technician, I maintain them. So if we make sure that there's no leaks, well, this engine doesn't have a whole lot of abuse like a semi truck or automotive because they drive every day. But these engines sit until they're needed. So we have to
Mm,
come in and we have to run them. We have to make sure that we have no leaks. We have to make sure that everything, the batteries and alternators and all that stuff. So I maintain them first off. So we
okay.
inspect them. So that's just make sure they run. And then, but then when we go to the repair, I could be replacing water pumps. I could replacing controllers for the generator side, which is the alternator side. They have a control board, which is which controls the alternator side of it, the electricity side of it. So the
Okay.
engine's here, and then you got the alternator that's attached to it here. So I'm traveling all over Georgia, going to different places, different data centers, different places every day to maintain engine.
That's
Yeah,
so cool. Do you just absolutely love it?
I do. I do. Actually, I do. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Are you in like one place for a while generally, or are you just like in a different place every day? Like,
Um, no, it could be different every day. It could be
okay.
different every day. But we got this big project going on now with Microsoft that we're starting up 95 liters. So Microsoft is actually just them breaking ground. So they haven't even they're like building they're building the building right now.
Okay.
So the building hasn't even been concrete hasn't been poured yet, but they got these 95-liter engines sitting out there waiting to be placed. So we're doing a big startup, making sure all the wiring is correct, making sure all the fittings and everything. So this is a 95-liter startup. So I'll
Wow.
probably be here for the next month or so. But usually, if
Okay.
it's not like a big project, I'm going to another place every day. I might
Nice.
do 3 or 4 different jobs a day. So yeah, so I'm going to a different place every day.
Did you generally work solo? Like, are you going out on the field alone? Maybe this Microsoft job's a little bit different. Are you with a team there? I'm assuming probably.
No, it's just me and another guy.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
I'm actually the lead
Okay.
on this project.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and the Microsoft guy loved me so much. He said that you're going to be my best friend for the next 5 years. I said, oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. So, but
That's awesome.
when we're just doing every day or just everyday routine, every technician that comes has their own truck or van.
Okay.
So like my truck is parked out in my driveway right now. So we take them home, we go to the shop, we take them to bring them home. So everybody has their own. So everybody can be spread apart all over Georgia every day. So yeah, I'm usually working by myself.
That's okay. So help me understand the logistics of all of this because you're working on stuff that's massive. I can only imagine you talk about like changing a water pump, like the size
Mhm.
of a water pump on one of these engines, and you're alone out in the field. Like, how, not just as a woman, just as anybody, like how
Mhm.
one person by themselves can do this kind of stuff. What is a daily look like, and how does that work logistically?
So now with the 95 liters, they're so new that we haven't had to replace a whole lot of things right now with
Okay,
these.
that's good.
But to replace the oil pump or water pump on these, you would have to get a crane and lift that, like unbolt it and then lift it out with the crane and have it lift up. Like
Wow.
nothing with a 95 liter is something you can pick up. Any man or woman, no,
Yeah.
no. So everything with a 95 liter has to be done with a crane. But like 50-liter engines, the water pump isn't that big. Maybe it's probably about 40 pounds, 50 pounds. So once you
Okay.
get it unbolted, you shimmy it out, and so I mean, yeah, it's definitely doable. Definitely doable. And then like
I
bigger
bow
jobs like that,
down.
sometimes we tag team them just to make sure with bigger
Yeah.
jobs like that. Yeah. Hmm.
I I bow down to you. Yeah. That's that's intense and doing that alone. I'm impressed. Do you prefer working out in the field alone versus
I
being in the
love the
shop?
field. I love the field. When I was a TA, we would do roll calls. Like when a truck breaks down on the side of the road, I'm like, send me on the roll call. I want to go fix a
Yeah.
tire on the side of the highway. I wanted to be in the parking lot, doing a discharge line, which is air pressure. But I mean, I loved it in the field. So with Cummins and me going to field service technician, that's the best thing that ever happened. Yeah.
What is it you love about it?
I guess it's like they rely on you to get the job done,
Mm.
the reliability to get the job done, and you don't have a whole lot of people looking over you as you're doing your job. Um, and then like the freedom, you don't have the freedom and having that trust to be like, okay,
Right.
I know that they're going to get the job done when they get out there.
That's awesome. Have you had issues with like you show up on the job site and they're surprised at who it is that comes out of the truck?
Man, you know how many times I get called a man or a sir. It happens so often, and when after it started at TA, so like when I would do a banging job, I would his customers happy like, oh man, you did a great job, sir. So then I'll be like, I'm the only woman in the tech, I'm the only woman in the shop, and they looked at me like, they would like be shocked, like really really shocked, and I'm like, you don't see all this thickness underneath this uniform, like. Yeah, but no, no, seriously, I don't know. It's just just that feeling of like I, the job that I do it so well that they mistake me as a man.
That's like there's a lot in that statement.
Yeah,
That's
I know but I love to correct them every now and then.
right.
Sometimes it gets repetitive, so I got to keep going, because I could be there all day. So, but majority of the times, yeah, I make sure I'm a woman in this field.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. Don't you see this thickness under this uniform? We're wearing men's uniforms
Yeah.
because that's all we have. But like, do they have women's uniforms for you yet at Cummins?
No.
No.
No. No.
Oh, gotta love it. One day, next up,
Yeah.
Cummins, you got to have some women's uniforms. Have you worked with any other women yet?
Well, at the Atlanta shop at TA, I worked with
Okay,
maybe a couple different women. They wasn't
nice.
really mechanics. They was kind of like in the oil bay, tire bay type of
Okay,
situation.
okay.
Um, but we was tight. We was tight. Whatever I knew, they might ask questions. I was right there with them. They'd be like, man, ooh, maybe coming, so they was always trying to learn from me, or follow, so I definitely, yeah, yeah. So I have worked with women in the shop.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. I just looked at the time.
Oh
Holy
wow.
crap. We're over an hour already.
Mhm.
Clearly I'm really enjoying talking with you. So are you okay? We've already gone over, but are you okay with us going a few more moments over?
Sure, sure.
Okay. I have two questions. I have lots more questions, but I'll limit it to two. What would you say has been the most challenging aspect of your career path, of your career, of the trade that you do? What's been the biggest challenge for you? And it could be anything.
Mm, challenging. You know, I guess the stigma of being a mechanic, the stigma that we carry. You know,
Mm,
some sometimes they say like the mechanic is always trying to take your money, or you got the shade tree mechanics that kind of actually don't know what they're doing, but they do, but they don't, or something might. But not all technicians are the same, and so the stigma is kind of what really is what I really don't like about the field. It's what's challenging to
interesting.
me. Is trying to overcome that barrier. So I always try to make sure that I'm I'm above that, or I set the bar a little bit higher because I don't want to be that technician and be like, well, this technician, we're not bringing my truck back, or we're not bringing my car back to this technician because they shisty. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I so agree with you. I think that is one of the biggest challenges is outside of work in the world,
Hmm.
how we're perceived, how the trades are perceived, how mechanics are perceived. And it's a huge challenge. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really good one. All
Yeah.
right. Final question, because I want to be respectful of your time. I feel like I could talk with you for like another hour because there's so many things I want to know about what you do. But if you had the opportunity to talk to the younger you, little baby Ebony, what are your words of advice to her?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hmm.
Mm.
If I could talk to myself at a younger age, I would have to say to never stop, to always follow your dreams, and to never stop learning, to always continue to bring knowledge, um, and keep growing intellectually, and to never stay stagnant. That's what I would have to say to myself.
Well, it sounds like you did that.
Yeah.
You have done a
And,
great
and
job at
we
doing
got some
that.
things, I got some things cooking right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I got my
Right.
associate's degree.
That's right. We didn't
Yeah,
even get to that point. You
yeah,
just got your associate's degree.
yeah.
What did you get your associate's degree in?
I got it in business. I got it in business.
Okay.
So then,
So what's coming? Can you
exactly.
share?
Um, I
Are
love the
you allowed
field.
to?
I love the field, but I want to take my career to the next level. So eventually, I don't want to be in the field. I want to kind of oversee, maybe like a
Okay.
project manager, or maybe like oversee. Like I see the guys, or been in the shop for 25 years. Hunched over, leg limping. And I'm a woman at the end of the day. So I got, I want to have another plan. I want to have a plan. So
That's awesome.
you know,
I
maybe
love it.
I got some things in the bag, but I don't want to let them out just yet.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. That just means we have to have you on again in the future to
For
catch up
sure.
with you and see what you're up to. That is very exciting, and I love that your words to yourself are you did those things. Like
Mhm.
you were always learning, you were always growing, you were always moving to the next step, and still look at you already like planning those next moves. No telling where you're going to end up. It's only good things. I can just tell. Guys, if you're watching, make sure you give her a follow on social media, keep up with her and see what she's up to. Definitely big stuff coming. Not just big stuff as far as what she works on, because that is big stuff too, but big stuff as far as her future plans. And we'll definitely have to have you on again in the future to catch up with you. This has been awesome, Ebony. It has been so much fun getting to know you, learning a little bit about what you do. I am so in awe of what you do, and
I appreciate you. Thank you.
absolutely, gosh, yeah, and you've just got fantastic energy. You really, this has been fantastic. So thank you for sharing your story and spending this hour with me. Guys at home, thank you, guys and gals, for spending this time and hanging out, spending part of your evening with us. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Ebony as much as I did. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe. Come back next week. We have some really awesome guests and some really awesome topics of conversation coming up in the near future. So make sure you are getting those alerts and know when new videos are coming, and you're following us on social. If you have questions for us, please shoot us a message on social media. Maybe we'll read your question online and answer those questions for you. And big thank you once again to our sponsors, Drive Time, for help making this series possible. We couldn't be doing it without them. And the industry is definitely benefiting from their commitment to bringing more women into the trade. So big thanks to them. And of course, huge thank you to Ebony for sharing her story, sharing her experiences and spending some time with us. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. Make sure you come back next week, come back Monday as well. And until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. We'll see you later. Bye, guys.